AM. Phil Thompson, how are you?
Not too bad. It just went down my phone. I don't know what happened. What does Thommo want to know?
Does Thommo? So we were just discussing this. Does Thommo know about Mora and Curtis splitting up? Do you know who Mora is, Thommo?
Lucas Mora.
That's fantastic.
I don't know too much outside the football.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
That's it. I think that's the only answer we needed to hear this morning, Phil.
Lucas Moura, denies having broken up with whoever his partner is.
Jurgen Klopp this morning, Phil, says he's not angry after the weekend. In fairness, Watford have said in the aftermath, Nigel Pearson said in the aftermath, that Liverpool handled us very well on Saturday night. They were very gracious in defeat. That does bode well for how Liverpool handled a setback, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does do. Listen, it's been a long, long time in the domestic league, the Premier League, and so yes, it did hurt. I think because of the scoreline being 3 goals, and I was getting well beaten. I think that was it's annoying, but you have to be respectful, and I think that's where Jurgen Klopp has taken this Liverpool side. And I think you have to move on. It's no good. You can't go into the dressing room and be angry with everybody. You just have to be calm. You have to point them in the right direction, because this team is a wonderful team. It's been going absolutely in this Premier League. It's been fantastic. So there's no need to panic.
What for you has happened with Liverpool since the winter break?
It was complacency for me. For me, I don't know what 2 weeks does for anybody. I think it takes the edge off a lot of players. I think there's a lot of teams in transition at the moment who need to keep at it rather than have a break, just change things. But I think it gives the teams in the bottom a little impetus. Get together, be angry, and give it a go. And you've seen some of the teams at the bottom who have probably been better than the teams at the top. But Liverpool, I don't know, I think Jamie Carragher mentioned it on, I don't know whether it was this Monday or the Monday before. Liverpool have not reacted well when they've come off a break. I think it was last year when we went out to the FA Cup. We had a break, the players went away, they come back, took them quite a bit. I think we had a few draws. But I just think this side... Listen, after the Shrewsbury game, the first game, you could see the players who've been injured and who were coming need games. Now, I was surprised that they didn't play in the Shrewsbury replay. As you could see with Lovren the other day, yes, there was a lot of players who were as bad as him, but he was rusty. He didn't need a break. He needed football matches to get himself up to in tune with everybody. And I just think that is one of the things where I would rather the injured players trained and played in the Shrewsbury game and be ready.
It is a difficult one, because they've had a very, very demanding season, Phil. So it's kind of, you would think in theory a little break wouldn't do them any harm. But would it be possible to say that they didn't necessarily go into the break in unbelievably good form either? Like I've been making the point for a while that they've kind of gotten through games this season where they haven't played that well, and even some of their league form, going back the last 6 weeks, like they've kind of stumbled to a few victories, and maybe this was coming that they were going to get one night where things just went wrong.
Well, I think a lot of Liverpool fans said that. Yes, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. Throughout a campaign, you win games and you're not playing well. And that is the essence of a good side. People think back in my day that we were absolutely battered teams and we were wonderful every week. No, it wasn't. There was long periods where you didn't play well, but you found a way. And that's what's been great about this side. It's nothing to knock at. But I would say since the break, the Norwich game, the West Ham game, you could see little sort of maybe problems coming in where we're not having enough chances. People didn't look sharp enough. There was too many. And us Liverpool fans were watching it, and we were going, probably the Watford game was coming. That sort of, not a defeat, not a 3-0, but a defeat was coming round the corner. And yes, it's not very nice to take, but you just felt as though yeah, get the monkey off our back, this thing. And all the going through it unbeaten, invincibles and all this, yes, it'd be nice. It's not the essence. I just want this title, this Premier League title will be absolutely fine.
It's a slight double-edged sword tonight, isn't it? Because they obviously lost away to Atletico, so that's in the balance at the moment. They've lost their unbeaten record.
No, we will win that. We will win that.
Yeah, well, just say for example, okay, at the moment anyway, I kind of expect them to win, but they've lost to Atletico. They've lost their unbeaten record in the league. So the Chelsea game tonight now is kind of. Don't want to lose that game, but at the same time, if they're going into this game on the back of having beaten Atletico and beaten Watford, Liverpool fans wouldn't really care if all the kids played again as much, I think.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying, but I think I come back to it again now. These players need games. These ones who you could literally see it. I go back to that Shrewsbury game, the first game. Some of the players who are coming back from injury were shocking, and I think. It's the same now today. We had a decent bench against Watford. There was a decent bench. There's a lot of players who need to play. I think Keita might be back to play. So there's a lot of players who can still make up this side tonight. Don't put the kids out. Don't put the under-23s out. Because this is going to be a big game. It'll be interesting what Frank Lampard thinks of it and what Frank Lampard plays. Because he's as much needing points in the Premier League to make sure they have Champions League football next year. So with Liverpool, though, I really think we'll have a decent team, but I don't think he'll put out the first team. But one of my biggest things is to have the cavalry on the bench if things are going wrong and you need a little bit of help. I think Curtis Jones will play. Neco Williams, who's been fantastic, he will play. Larouci on the left-hand side. Have a mix of youngsters, and that's, I think, what Chelsea will be going at this game. They'll have ideas of this coming weekend as well in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think as well, the fact that Liverpool have only done a League Cup double once in their entire history, Phil. It's something to be chased after, regardless, even if they had hammered Atletico in the first leg, even if they'd won it the weekend. I still think the FA Cup represents a huge opportunity for this Liverpool team to go from one of the better Premier League teams we've ever seen to an all-time great English team because of the multiple trophies that they might win.
Not only that as well, Phil, but the Cup is kind of almost as much of a priority as the league now because they've lost their unbeaten record. They're going to win the league, so they can win the Cup. So this should nearly be more important in some respects.
I would love to win the FA Cup. It has always been one of the priorities. You always love it. I don't think these managers, these coaches, the way they see it, it's as important until they get to sort of maybe the quarter-final stage or the semi-final stage, the same as the League Cup. It's always going to be difficult. You see Man City. Liverpool can't sort of change too many of the teams. You look at it, the forward line plays most weeks, the defensive line plays most all the time. So they need to sort of mix it up. Still, he has to realise this would be an absolutely wonderful thing on his CV. It's not going to be the be-all and end-all. The way they treat the FA Cup now is not the way they did in my day, and I love the FA Cup, and I want to win that trophy. But I don't think it's going to change his stance on how he plays his teams unless he gets later on in the tournament. But this is a fantastic opportunity. Quarterfinals, it'll be a one-off. If you get a nice home draw, that can really sort of set you up. I would love to go through with it. And as I say, don't have the kids on the bench. Have those first-team players all ready to come on to give you a little bit of a push if you need it, that last 20 minutes, 25 minutes in the game.
And speaking of players that potentially could come back into the fold over the next little while, I think Jordan Henderson's absence has certainly made the heart grow fonder for a little bit. If you're a Liverpool fan, I'd imagine, Phil, him not being there has just kind of crystallised just how important he's been, almost as an icon for this team over the last few months.
Well, I probably one of the first people pre-Christmas was championing him for being the player of the season. I know it was an early shout, but I did think he was having a massive impact. Kevin De Bruyne probably, as a footballer, is probably the best in the Premier League. But Jordan Henderson, for what he brings to this Liverpool team, and it's proven it since he's been out. He's a dynamic player. He's a very good player. He plays to his limits all the time, but it's what else he brings to this side, which what we've missed. If you look round as I did throughout the games that he's missed, there's nobody pointing fingers. There's nobody shouting and screaming, trying to get everybody G'd up. And that was what needed. It was so evident in the Watford game. Particularly go 1-0 down. It's regroup, get the boys together, point a few fingers. Right? There was nothing like that. And I think Jordan Henderson has been missed massively just to cajole this team into another gear.
Why are you so confident they'll beat Atletico, actually, Phil?
I think the team's angry. I think the fans are angry. Some of the things what went on in that football match, you have to be a footballer when you're on that pitch. I remember screaming at Jamie Carragher in a game, and I was absolutely, because he hadn't put tackles in and everything, and he just shouted back at me. He said, "Thommo, you don't realise." He said, "You blow on these lads and they fall over." He said, "You go near them." He said, "I could be getting..." And I thought, you're right. So this, as the game goes on, and some of the tactics and some of the things they were doing, they pushed the limits. They went across that line, and you feel that as a footballer, it makes you angry. All the things what was going on, Simeone with the crowd doing that. Yeah, the crowd were fantastic, and that's what it has. That's what you have to have, feels like that. But this, they went over the line, and I think that's what. And this team, when they're angry, you've seen what can happen. And I just think Atletico, not a Barcelona, and not a Bayern Munich, and I think Liverpool will beat them.
That's going to be some atmosphere, all right.
Absolutely. Who was the team that Jamie Carragher was breathing on players and then falling down?
I can't remember which game it was, but we were having a sort of, and this was just at half time, and he was so anxious, and he was right. And I put myself in his position, and I thought, and what happens, you don't want to tackle, because you know they'll throw themselves to the floor, they took a bang on the head, but they'll hold their ankle, and they'll be rolling around. You'll be going, what's going on here? You jump up in the air to go for a header, they hold the face, they roll around on the floor, they remonstrate with the linesman, the referee, everybody, and the game just goes out of control.
That's what
that was happening in that Atletico game. And I was watching it, and I was as angry and frustrated as the players were. And I thought, 1-0, and I said on Soccer, that was a good result. To come away and the players not go and chase the game, which they could have done, and it could have been even worse.
I'm really looking forward to that. I'm in Cheltenham, obviously, for that game.
I am.
The Tuesday night, Tom, to be at that game, I think the atmosphere will be. It'll be an Anfield on a Champions League night, but it'll be an angry Anfield as well, which is going to make it. And Simeone will try to fight his own corner. I think it's going to be utterly compelling.
Yeah, it certainly will.
I think it's all. Jurgen Klopp has called to arms for the fans, and he knows what it was, but he tried to keep a lid on it. He knows you watching his press conferences, he will ask the fans to do their part.
Listen, Phil Thompson, enjoy the game tonight. Thanks for taking the call.
My pleasure. Cheers, guys. Take care.